Hi, this is Margaret from dataminingdna.com, and this is a walkthrough of 3 ways to protect photos in your public family tree. So, what's the problem? Well, if you've been uploading photos to your public family tree, you may spot your photos in other people's trees. And those photos may have been copied from your tree without giving any credit or attribution back to you and your family tree. And on another level, the copy may be assigned by mistake to the wrong person, to an unconnected person in somebody else's family tree. I want to point out that both of these are almost always completely innocent mistakes. If you're an Ancestry user, I'll link to an article on our blog about saving photos from other Ancestry trees and going about it the right way. So Ancestry has a save feature which preserves the citation trail. The problem is that it's very easy to get started with a tree on Ancestry by a few clicks, and some of the more intermediate features aren't particularly clearly explained. What we're talking about here is protecting your photos, but not completely privatizing them. If you want to give other people the opportunity to copy photos from your tree, you're quite happy with that. You just want to avoid or try to minimize misassignment, and you would like some credit. We're going to go through several ways to do that. One way is to add a caption to your photo. This would be an example. I'll just size it up. So this is a photograph I took myself. I then extended the end of the photograph and included a number of details. Because in the actual photograph itself, because on the actual headstone, there isn't a county or a country stated, I'm trying to avoid this photograph being misassigned to a Philip Fitzsimons in Virginia, United States, right? So I'm putting very clearly the details of the death, but that it was in Cavan, Ireland. Then I have my own name, and that this particular photograph was taken in Belturbet Cemetery. Now, some people, if they want to encourage contact, they may put the username on their genealogy sites, if you're using Ancestry or if you're using MyHeritage, or the name of their family tree. Alternative to a caption is an unobtrusive watermark. By that I mean something like this, and this is the method I use myself. So as you can see, I tend to put my watermarks at the top left. By unobtrusive, I'm not obscuring any pertinent information provided by the photograph. One of the problems with this kind of unobtrusive watermark at the edges of your photograph is that if another family tree owner crops the photograph, they could well lose that information. The watermark is gone. What you've tried to do has now been kind of torpedoed. Which brings us to the next level, that of the obtrusive watermark. And I'm talking about something like this. Yeah? So here I've put the text over the pertinent piece of information, and if this was a headshot, I could have just have it over the person's face. I call this obtrusive because it is actually obscuring some of the information in the photograph. But there are varying levels of obtrusivity. A level down from that is that is the same text, but with an increased transparency. I think you can make out with a bit of squinting what is behind the photograph. And the other advantage of this type of watermark as compared to that is that when you're looking at your own family tree, you may not want to see this kind of plastered on your family tree. You may prefer something a little more subtle as this. Okay, and now I'm going to give you a walkthrough, step by step, over the shoulder, of me using 3 different pieces of free software to add a caption, then put up a watermark, and finally I'm also going to show you a way of mass watermarking. If you're sitting on a collection of 500 photos in a folder, it's going to be very tedious to start watermarking them. So I'm going to show you a free piece of software that does the job quite nicely. And with all of these methods, I would just caution you not to work on the original images. So take a copy of the entire folder where you hold your media, if you're going to start watermarking them, and just watermark copies of your photographs. So that's enough of the presentation. Let's get cracking on with using various pieces of software. There is a companion article on our blog to this video, It's got all the links to each piece of software that we use. I'll put a link to the companion article down in the description below. This is a quick demo of using Microsoft Paint to add a caption to a photo. I've got a photo here of a headstone. It's a photo I took myself. I'm going to open up Microsoft Paint. I am simply going to search for Paint. I have no idea where it is. I rarely use it. Paint. There we go. Paint. I need to find the file. File. Open. So here we've got the file in Paint, and you just need to decide where you want your caption. And all you're doing with Microsoft Paint or any other simple image editor is you are going to give yourself some space usually by dragging an edge. I'm going to find the edge at the bottom here. You see how it's changed, and I'm just going to drag down. Okay, so I'm going to give myself a fair bit of space here and then go back, reduce it when I'm finished. Not sure how much space I need. Okay, so having given myself a bit of space, I want to type in text here. Now, with many image editors, that you will find a little text icon here, and that allows you to insert text into the picture. So I'm going to click it, and then I am going to click into the space, and what that's done is it's given me a text box. Now I just want to change the dimensions straight up just to give myself enough space for my little essay. So what do I want to type? This is Philip Fitzsimons that he died in Cavan, Ireland. And then I want to give a citation here. It comes from my collection. Right, so that's all I want to put in. I've got more than enough space, so I'm now going to click away, and I'm going to reduce the space just to bring that right back up. Okay, and there we have it. Now, the moment that you save this, you can't go back in and edit the text, because it's now part of the image, right? So just make sure that you're happy with what you've written, and then we'll save. I'll close it. There we go. So it's a JPEG file. I just want to take a look at it, and here, as you can see, is the original image. I've made it longer by adding this caption at the bottom, and this is what I can upload to my family tree. I'm on the Canva website, where you can create a free account, and the free tier lets you add a watermark to an image. So it's an online site, so you will be uploading your image. So just click create a design, and you start with an image. And I'm going to use a headstone. It's a photograph that I took myself. Off I go. I edit the image. Okay, and what I want to do is I want to put the watermark over the important information. Because if I put the watermark here, or down here, it is certainly less obtrusive. But if somebody comes along, copies the photograph, and quite innocently thinks, well, it's too long, and that, in terms of the height, and they want to crop it so it displays better in their own tree, they could end up cropping out the information, the watermark. I don't actually normally do this. I tend to put my watermarks up on the top left, but for the purposes of this demo, I'm going to stick it over the important information, which probably means it's not going to get cropped out. So what I need to write over this is a text element. So I'm just going to open the text elements, and I am going to grab heading, and I am now going to, so I'm going to change the font color because black is too hard to see. White. So font color, change it to white, and now I am going to type in, reduce this down a little bit, and I will put Cavan, Ireland, collection of Margaret O'Brien. And it's pretty much cited where I want it to be, but what it is doing is it's actually obscuring some of the text. So what I want to do is I want to make this text more transparent. And the way to make it more transparent is through the text effects. So up here on the top right, click on effects. And the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to choose an effect. I'm going to make the text hollow. And then I am going to decrease the thickness or the opacity of the text. So I'm just moving that to the left, and you can see that it is more transparent. Just click away. Might experiment a little bit, might make this a little bit bigger. Okay, yeah, that probably is a better choice. So once I've done that, I can simply then just download the photograph, this big download button, and this should come down into my downloads folder. Open it, take a look at it. Oh, and I can't see it at all. Okay, so that was one experiment. I can't see it at all, but I could see it in Canva. So I'm going to continue editing, and I am going to back to effects. I obviously need to increase the thickness. I'll bring it back up to the 50. How does that go? Let's bring this up here in an image viewer. Yeah, okay, that's more like it. Expand this. Yeah, okay, so this is what I want. So the actual default, when I opened up text effects, the default I think was at about 50% anyway. That to me is, what's written behind it is legible, in my opinion. At least I can read it. But also my watermark is clear. Okay, bit of experimentation there, and that is Canva. This is the website for the UMark software. It provides watermarking for a batch of multiple files, and I want to download it. It is free software. I'm going to take the free version, and it is available for a heck of a lot of platforms, which is great. I'm going to take the Windows version, so I will just install this. Here we go. So I've never used this software before. I just want to make sure that it's easy to use, easy to pick up, and it does what it says in the tin. Activate it. Okay. So I will continue. Oh, well, this is really nice and simple. Add folder. Okay, I need to find my folder. Okay, I think, yeah, I'll just keep all of the defaults there. I don't have subdirectories. That's kind of cool. I mean, you probably do have subdirectories depending on how you organize your photos. So that's a nice option. And here it's displaying the first one. And here you can deselect any. So what do I do next? I'm going to click add watermark, and it gives me the choice. That's, I'm sure you can do all kinds of fancy things here. I'm just going to add text. Okay, for the purposes of mass watermarking, I'm just going to put collection of Margaret O'Brien. Okay, and I can see at the top, some people might want to put in the name of their family tree. If you're using a particular genealogy site, whether it's MyHeritage or Ancestry, so you might want to put your username in here. If all of the photographs were from the same graveyard, I might put Drumley Graveyard Cabin. Now that's quite big. The text is quite big. I would like to reduce the font size. Here we go. Yeah. Yep. That works for me. And then in terms of the transparency, see down here the transparency. This is actually it's medium, and the more transparent, the least likely to obscure details. But I do actually want it to be seen, so I'm going to leave it in the middle there. What are these effects? 3D. 3D. It's like the Star Wars effect, is it? I do not want 3D. I say no effects, no special effects for me. And then the thickness is fine. You can play around with that. Okay, so if I did want it down the end, do I drag and drop this? I don't think so. Okay, so I think there are these preset positions. So if I go, okay. So using this layout here, you can, that now it's down the bottom left. You shake it to the left, shake it to the right. Okay, and it justifies, right, justifies, top right and top left. So that means that if you did want to have it in the middle of your photo, and therefore far less likely to be removed, at least cropped out, I'd stick it in the middle. I would make the font big. Where's the font gone? Oh, it's up here. And then I would decrease the transparency, yeah. I might even tilt it. Just looking for the settings. Is there a diagonal slant? Ah, okay, right. So rotate, beside the rotate, you've got a drop down. Presumably you can set that rotation manually, or you can choose, this looks exactly what I want. Diagonal bottom right. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so that makes sense. And in that case, I will just up it a little bit. Maybe now make it more transparent so person can see what's there. Okay, but that is an option. And for me, that is not the option I tend to take. What I do is, if somebody wants to crop it out, that's up to them. It doesn't really bother me. I want to put it back up to the top left. And I will again reduce it like that and decrease the transparency. Okay, so by having the name of the graveyard, the county in Ireland, and the country, it's far less likely that this particular Philip Fitzsimons, that this image will be copied and associated with in another tree with a Philip Fitzsimons who was born, raised, and died in Virginia, United States. Yeah. So I'm just going to close that, having got everything set up the way I want. And what do I do now? Save images. So now I don't want to replace my existing photographs. So it's allowing me to choose another folder. So what I will do is under my documents, I will create a folder called collection watermarked. So select, let's do this again, collection watermarked. Okay, I could have made a new folder from this window, that's fine. Okay, contain directory structure, that's nice again. Output format, I want to keep it as the same as the source image. Metadata, I'll just keep all the defaults here. Okay, so you could rename the photos with like a prefix of watermarked underscore or something. Keeping all the defaults here. Okay, so now click start, and presumably then it chugs its way through. Oh, I see it's going down one by one, and there's a progress, 100%. That was fast. What was a second or so? 20 photographs. It's all done. So let me take a look at my documents. Okay, so if I just take one random one in the middle here, take number 10, and there we have it. Works for me. That's UMark. That is all for free, and yeah, I'm very happy with that.